"4,000 years ago, Abraham and his nephew's herdsmen got into it. Either the tension built up over time or it was one big major brawl. Point is, Lot moves out, God moves in. And the Lord said unto Abram, after that Lot was separated from him, Lift up now thine eyes, and look from the place where thou art, northward and southward and eastward and westward. From all the land which thou seest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed forever. And I will make thy seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall thy seed also be numbered." Genesis 13:14-16. I cannot take my eyes off verse 16. Is this a conditional sentence? What I can see here is an if clause. If a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall thy seed be numbered. We use this often as a feel-good verse. It simply means a whole lot, like saying a gazillion. It doesn't really mean anything. But what if it does? This sounds like a conditional sentence. If this, then that. In English, this statement in Genesis 13 falls under first conditional type of sentence. Shout out to all the English majors out there. But according to the rules of grammar, sentences in the first conditional are hypotheticals and impossible statements. That would mean that this statement in the scripture in verse 16 is nothing more than poetry. However, even though first conditional sentences are always taught as hypotheticals, it could also describe situations that are very much possible. The possibility or impossibility of a conditional clause depends on the specific circumstances of the sentence. So looking at the scripture now, it does seemingly call for an impossible or implausible situation. But I would argue that up until the last century, it would be very unlikely. For the last 4,000 years, there may not have been the instruments available to think about the total number of dust in the earth. That may be the reason that this scripture may have always been reduced into some figure of speech. Today, that kind of information falls under the disciplines of environmental science, geology, meteorology, and so forth. Each of these sciences have their own resources to discover dust particles. An environmental engineer, using their information systems, could use technology available to them to measure the amount of dust particles in the earth. How exactly close we are to the total exact number is not specifically clear, but perhaps we've gotten the number down to the ton, or to the half ton, or maybe to the pound. Could there be a relationship in this scripture to the end of the world? My argument is that if we are able to quantify the number of dust in the earth to the ounce, perhaps, would that mean that this scripture could be fulfilled, if that makes sense? We also have to look at this. Genesis was written in ancient Hebrew, and the word for be numbered or be counted falls under the third person masculine singular. This is a finite verb which does not need a pronoun to define the subject. Just like the Spanish language, the subject is already tied into the verb. And in this case, it's a masculine verb, meaning him. So, a literal man. If a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall thy seed also be numbered. Who is that man? Is it someone in particular? If we're talking about the end times, could it mean the man of sin? I know I'm out on a limb here, but we do know that one day the very last and final soul will be saved. Someone will be the very last one to be saved, and the window of salvation, so to speak, will be closed. That number of souls that have been saved somehow is related to the number of dust in the earth. If what I'm saying has any bearing to truth in this video, how would the units be measured? How could the dust of the earth be compared to the seed of Abraham? And the total weight of all the dust of the earth compared to the total weight of all the saints of God? Or is it the number of units of dust particles equal to the number of souls saved? Would it be per ounce or per pound or some kind of Jewish measurement? There could be an additional spiritual component to what I'm saying that has not been revealed at this time. But either way, what do you guys think? Am I coming from left field or what? I don't think so. But either way, God bless you and stay safe.